Top 10 Serial Killers in the World. 10. Donald Henry Gaskins. Gaskins asserts that he was responsible for the deaths of between 80 and 90 victims whom he tormented and disfigured. In 1969, he started his career as a serial killer by picking up hitchhikers on the coastal highways of the American South. An accomplice in the illegal enterprise came clean to the authorities after having seen the murder of 2 young men. He was found guilty of murder and given the death penalty. However, his sentence was ultimately changed to one of life in prison without the prospect of parole. When Gaskins committed another murder, he made history by being the first person ever to be responsible for the execution of a death row inmate. 9. The Crazy Necrophile, Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy was a serial murderer, kidnapper, rapist, and necrophile from the United States. He admitted to killing 30 women in various states throughout the United States. He went back to murder scenes and had sexual relations with the bodies. Bundy beheaded at least 12 people and stored their heads in his apartment as souvenirs. Bundy died in 1989, at the age of 42, in the electric chair. Ted was the exact essence of uncaring wickedness, his own defense attorney stated. 8. Richard Trenton Chase. Richard Trenton. In a month, Chase killed 6 in California. Sacramento's vampire drank and ate blood. He imagined Nazis powdered his blood with soap. Griffin, 51, was Chase's first victim. Wallen followed. Chase murdered Teresa at home. He bloodied and mangled her. Chase stopped murdering on January 27. He shot Evelyn Murath's neighbor Don Meredith with the same .22 pistol. Evelyn Murath, her 6-year-old son Jason, and her 22-month-old nephew David were killed. Chase drained David's blood and ate his organs before dumping his body. A witness observed him leaving fingerprints and shoe prints, leading to his arrest. Chase was condemned to the gas chamber on May 8 for 6 murders. 7. Gerald Stono. Stono was an American who, beginning in the late 1960s and early 1970s and continuing for as long as 7 to 8 years, picked up a number of young women and hitchhikers and then murdered them by either shooting, stabbing, or strangling them. His victims included hitchhikers. He was taken into custody in 1980 and sentenced to life in jail, which he did not escape from until he was put to death in Florida in 1998 by the electric chair. 6. Ludy Bruno. Ludy was apprehended at the conclusion of World War II by Nazi police when they reportedly spotted him having necrophilia on the corpse of one of his recently killed victims. His reign lasted 15 years, beginning in 1928. He confessed to a series of crimes after which he was pronounced mad and sent to a Vienna hospital where he was exposed to medical experimentation before being executed by lethal injection in 1944. He continued to abuse and ultimately murder a number of additional women, frequently by stabbing and strangling, even after he was sterilized for earlier abusing a young lady. 5. Jack the Ripper. Named serial murderer, who committed a series of heinous killings in London's Whitechapel region in the late Victorian century, became one of history's most famous crimes. It's difficult to think of any serial murderer who has sparked as much legend, investigation, and identification speculations. His name has taken on a mythical quality, thanks in part to the heinousness of the crimes and the taunting the killer delivered to frustrated cops. The From Hell letter, which was sent with half a kidney of one of the victims, he claimed to have eaten the other half, was the most renowned tease. 4. Charlie Chopoff. This cruel killer targeted black children. His brutality earned him the nickname Ghoul. Ernesto Soto, one of Charlie's victims, was apprehended in 1974. Soto was interrogated after being caught stealing a Puerto Rican child. The survivor thought he resembled his attacker, but wasn't sure. Despite Soto's confession to one of the killings, Manhattan State Hospital, where he was a prisoner, claimed he couldn't be responsible, but they admitted he may have escaped while they were monitoring. 3. Andrei Chicatillo. Andrei Chicatillo, a Russian serial murderer, sexually abused, killed, and dismembered more than 50 young women and children between 1978 and 1990. Chicatillo stabbed and slashed his victims to death with a knife. The youngest in the group was 9 years old. Chicatillo subsequently stated that the only way he could get orgasm was by stabbing women, which made it impossible for him to control his tremendous desire to kill. The Butcher of Rostov, the Red Ripper, and the Rostov Ripper were all nicknames given to Chicatillo. Despite confessing to 56 savage murders, he was prosecuted for 53 of them, put to death, and killed by firing squad in 1994. 2. John Wayne Gacy. There is insanity, and then there is the derangement that was exhibited by serial killer John Wayne Gacy. He was given the nickname Killer Clown due to the job he did as Pogo the Clown at children's birthday celebrations and humanitarian initiatives. Because of the nature of his profession, he had convenient access to people who may become victims. Gacy was determined to be responsible for the raping, torturing, and ultimately the murdering of 33 young guys over a period of 6 years. He would invite them to his home, where he would either strangle or suffocate them before burying their bodies on his property. Gacy was put to death in the year 1994. 1. Harold Shipman. Harold Shipman, or Dr. Death, is believed to have killed at least 218 and maybe 250 individuals. This doctor murdered between 1972 and 1998 in 2 London workplaces. Shipman wasn't caught until many people raised red flags, including an undertaker who was astonished by the amount of cremation certificates Shipman was engaged with and the fact that most of the victims died in bed during the day. Shipman killed until he got greedy and tried to write a will for a victim that designated him beneficiary, which made the victim's daughter suspicious. He was convicted in 2000 and committed suicide in 2004.